What are you guys doing here? We're going to do this now? Look, I told you guys time and time again, if you're going to come and film, give me a heads up. I don't even have a script. All right. Do the best I can. All right. Here we go. Welcome to Jim's having an episode number 13 and Temagami preview. Now, it's been a while since I filmed, since I've returned from my Temagami trip. City life, things kind of got crazy and not a whole lot of time to do any filming. But when you got a film crew that's going to come in here and start filming on a whim, then I guess I just got to go with it. So okay, here we go. So I don't have a script, but you're going to give me a list. Okay, I think I can do that. Temagami Revisited and Beyond. So just to refresh on why I did Temagami again, I did it in 2017. And again, that was back in the day when I didn't have a YouTube channel. So any filming I did, I pretty much did for myself. So when I tried to put that movie together, it was horrible. I missed out on a lot of filming and it was just bad. So I thought I should do Temagami justice. So I set out for Temagami 8 years later. So, Temagami and Beyond. So what do I mean by Beyond? I've had a dream, and this has been in my head for a long time now, to literally cycle all of Ontario to the far, far north and return home. But a trip like that would take about a month and a half. I mean, we're talking almost 2,200 kilometers, maybe 2,100. And I only have so many holidays that I could do this. So I thought, why not break it up in two? So the first leg, part 1, 2025, I did Temagami. I was supposed to go a little bit further, but things have happened that I'll get into a little bit later. So I thought, okay, this is part 1. In 2026, I'm going to start part 2. I'm going to start in Temagami. And I'm going to go to the far reaches of northern Ontario. Pretty much the last highway north into the Boreal region and make my way home. So this isn't a point A to point B where I get to my destination and I'm going to get a ride home. I'm going to be responsible for myself getting home. So yeah, this is going to be kind of crazy. And for me to pull this off, or even to do this trip, things have got to be in place. So 1, I got to have the funding. 2, I got to have the time off. I've got the holidays. Now my job allows me 2 weeks consecutive for holidays. Now twice before they've allowed me to take 3 weeks. But it's a lot of push and pull to get that kind of time off. So I've set aside 3 weeks, which will turn out to be about 22, 23 days to finish off the rest of this expedition. So yeah, part 1, Temagami, part 2, far reaches of northern Ontario, and home. So that's what has to be in place. I have to be able to fund it, and I have to be able to have the time off. So that's what I'm hoping will happen in August of 2026. So it's kind of crazy because when I do point A to point B, and I usually get a ride home, unless it's one of those smaller trips where I don't need a ride home. But I'm going to be so far north that it's kind of a different feeling, because now I'm not relying on a ride home. It's up to me to get home. It's up to me to do the work. So, if we just do a little a look back at what I've done and what I'm going to do, I've set up a map, and I've traced out what I did and what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to grab the camera. And, okay, for people who are out of province or out of this country, this is Lake Ontario. West end of Lake Ontario is Hamilton. That's where I live. We got Toronto here, Ottawa, Algonquin Park, North Bay. Temagami is just off the map. So when I get to it, I'm going to flip the map and show you what I'm in for. But before I do, I'll explain my route home from the top of this map, which I'll be coming from White River. I'll be taking the train. It's an RDC train. It's a rail diesel car. This train was developed back in 1949, early 50s, back in the day when rail travel was declining. So people were taking flights more, they were taking the bus, and passenger service was declining. So the Bud Company, not to mix it up with Budweiser, is a company in Philadelphia that produced a train that would be low cost and self-sufficient. Well, what I mean by that is this train powers itself. There's no locomotive, and you only need a crew of 3. You need the engineer, conductor, and the baggage guy, which is really cool. This RDC train is the last one in service in North America. I don't know about the rest of the world. I haven't researched that, but this is the last one in service. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that train from White River to a place called Cartier, and I'll get back into that once I flip the map. From Cartier, I'm going to come down. This is north of Georgian Bay, Lake Huron area. I'm going to make my way down to Espanola. I'm going to come down through Manitoulin Island, take the ferry. I'm going to take the ferry here to Tobermory, and then pretty much it's textbook from here home. I'm going to come down all the way to Goderich, passing places like Saugeen Shores, Port Elgin, and then I'll take the G2G, which is a safe route, back to Guelph, and then it's pretty much back home on the road. So, yeah, 2025, when I did my Temagami run, I started out here in Hamilton. Let me get my pointer, because my fingers are probably too fat. Pretty much came up, zigzagging, back roads. And when I got to here, you could see in a couple of places, there's like a big detour. I'm going to talk about construction detours later. But this took a lot of time and days to do. I think one day here, I think this was day 3 when I left Campbellville, Orangeville. I was supposed to get to here. That was a 17.5-hour day. And long story short, I don't think my cyclometer was working at the time. It would eventually work. My Runkeeper was telling me, it wasn't Runkeeper, it was a Relive. It's an app that'll track my movements. It told me that I did 109 kilometers, but I swear it was about 120. Day 4, it happened again, as you can see. Instead of going from here to here, I was forced to do a massive detour, which took me right on the shores of Lake Simcoe and into Barrie. I was supposed to make Aurelia. Didn't happen. It was late in the day. Spent the night in Barrie. But pretty much everything after this was textbook. Up through Gravenhurst, Bracebridge, Huntsville, Sprucedale, Burke's Falls, and all the way up, and we get to North Bay. So I'm going to flip the map, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to be in for. And this is the far reaches of Northern Ontario. So I'm going to set this camera down for a sec. So just bear with me. I'm going to move the map here. So we'll take that, take that. We'll take that, take that. And we're going to flip this around. Put that right about there like that. Put that in there like that. Like that. And like that. Okay, let's keep that flat. So this is where we're at. So in 2026, my hope is that I'll be dropped off in Temagami, which is about 100 kilometers north of North Bay. So that's Temagami there. That's where I'm going to start my trip. And then I'm going to come up through Latchford, Temiskaming Shores, Englehart, Kirkland Lake, almost make Timmins, but not quite, and do this far, far north, last highway north, through places like Cochrane, Smooth Rock Falls, Kapuskasing, and Hearst. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to take a 172 kilometer run back to White River, while I will get on that RDC. I've always wanted to ride that train, but I've never had a reason to. It's a train that runs between White River and Sudbury. And what it does is it helps service a lot of the places. This is deep backwoods community. There's some lodges, there's some cottages, there's places along this route that you can only access by this train. And without this train, these places are lost. My mom was born on this train somewhere between Sudbury and White River. It's unknown exactly where, but I've always wanted to ride this vintage rail car. And if you want to see this rail car, if you go on YouTube and put, I believe it's Tripping Train 185 by TV Ontario, and you'll get to see what I'm talking about. So what's going to happen is I'm going to take that train down through Chapleau. There's all kinds of communities here. Some of them you can get by road, and a lot of them you can't. Take this here. There's a little place before Sudbury called Cartier. So I'm going to get off there. There's a provincial park here. I'm going to spend the night here, and that's when I'll start making my way down to Manitoulin Island, and it should be textbook from there. Get down to South Baymouth, where I will get on the ferry to Tobermory, and then it's just another maybe 7 days home. So, wow, that's pretty crazy. And but it's been a dream of mine. I now have a reason to take this train. I think it's going to be about 300 miles, which works out to be about almost 400, I guess, 380, maybe 420 of rail travel, where I'll be dropped off, and then I'm on my own again. So, yeah. Once you get to Smooth Rock Falls, I don't know, you're about, about 300 kilometers from James Bay. Hudson's Bay area. Yeah, but to do this, everything's got to be in place. So I'm going to put the camera back. No, I hope that's good. Oh, one other thing too. Probably the good thing about this highway here. Probably once you get past Kirkland Lake, maybe Cochrane, the highway's flat and probably not as busy as the other Trans-Canada Highway that I took on my White River expedition from, I don't know, it was Massey, Ontario, then the back roads into to Ste. Marie, and then up the White River. So this is the far north Trans-Canada Highway. It does keep going. It goes, but I'm not going that way. I'm going to come back to White River and take that train. So I've done a lot of planning. I've done a lot of research. Been doing my homework. Trying to get an idea what I'm in for. So, all right. And if you can see this, this is that highway. Far north, northern Ontario. As you can see, it is fairly flat. Oh, it's very flat. So I should be able to do well on this. Now I'm looking at, from Temagami to White River, about 768 kilometers. 768 kilometers is about the distance of an extended trip. This trip will probably end up being about 1,400 kilometers. And then that'll break a record from my White River trip, which was 1,100 kilometers. And I have about 23, 24 days to do it. So, am I biting more off than I can chew? Maybe. But I'm stubborn. And I don't like to lose. So, we'll put that back. Just like that. I hope you can see me. Should be good. Okay, what's next? What do you guys got for me? Okay, let's talk a little bit about my Temagami trip. A little bit. It doesn't look right, but anyway. There were a few things that came into play on this trip, more so than any other trip I've done in the last 12 years. Now, I've had to deal with a lot of construction zones, detours, but not as bad as this. I've had 3 construction detours on day 3 and day 4 that took so much time, energy out of my trip. That's why I didn't make it past Temagami. I figured enough was enough. You got to be prepared for these things, and when these things happen, you got to adjust. You got to be able to adjust. So. Yeah, I chalk it up to experience that I was able to pull this off. 17 and a half hours. Man. Anyway, campgrounds. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. There's an American company called KOA Campgrounds of America. And they've set up all throughout Canada. What happens is these campgrounds are privately owned by locals, but they run under the flag of KOA. And I guess what's been happening over the years is that the KOA campgrounds, you have to abide by their rules. So it's got to be presented in a KOA way. So when you go to KOA campground, you think it's KOA. It is KOA, but it's run privately. So it's almost like, say, McDonald's, privately owned. If you're going to use a McDonald's name, you got to go by their book. You got to be a mirror image of all the participating stores. It's the same thing with the KOA campgrounds. Now, these KOA campgrounds, they take 35% of all sales. Chocolate bars, chips, your campsite, and anything else that is sold in the park, the KOA campgrounds take 35%. Now, when these campgrounds run into problems, maybe there's an electrical problem or, I don't know, maybe something needs fixing or repaired, there is a hotline to the KOA head office. You call them, they send people out, and they fix it. That has not been happening. These campgrounds have had to contract somebody out, pay these people with their own money and not KOAs. So I guess what I've learned along this trip is I think I passed maybe 4 or 5 KOA campgrounds that used to be KOA campgrounds. They're not anymore. They've dropped the KOA. They're running this privately. Now, what I've experienced along the way is one of these campgrounds closed up completely. They had enough. They shut down. That would be Innisfil KOA. The first KOA I stopped at was in Campbellville. It was called Toronto West KOA. It's not KOA anymore. I don't know how many there are left, if there's still KOAs out there. I'm sure there is, but every KOA that I passed through on this trip was affected. And it was just, it was new to me. And that causes problems. The first KOA I stopped at in Campbellville, they changed the rules a little bit. They said no camping. I mean, no tenting. So I had to book a cabin, but you have to book a cabin for 2 nights. Well, I was only staying for 1, and I didn't have a choice. So I paid for 2 nights, only stayed for 1. They also won't allow anyone who doesn't have kids. Why is that? Because if you have kids, you're not going to be partying till 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, keeping the other campers up. They just want to get away from the hassle of rowdy campers. So when I got to Gravenhurst, that campground is still intact and they still run it the same way. I was very thankful for that. I got a campsite for a couple of days. I was able to do my laundry, shower, get my equipment ready. Barrie North KOA, I have no idea. I didn't go to that campground. I bypassed it. So, no KOA campgrounds on the entire trip. So what am I supposed to do in the future when I leave town? I don't have a lot of options. Now we're looking at motels, which is almost double to triple the price. When I made it to Barrie, I had to get a hotel. That cost me, for 1 night, $170 something. I had no choice. I had to do it. So the state of our campgrounds is changing. I learned that. I learned that the hard way. I was in just approaching Gravenhurst, and a concerned motorist pulled over and asked me if I was okay. And I told him I'm just a little concerned about, it's getting late in the day, a little concerned about where I'm going to be spending the night. So she called up a friend who ran an outdoor movie theater, a drive-in theater. And she wanted me set up behind the theater. But unfortunately, the owner said no, because of insurance reasons, I cannot allow that. The funny thing is, when I rode past that theater, there was a movie going on. So you can see me right in front of this movie theater, in front of the screen, behind the theater to camp, which is kind of odd. But I was happy to find out that 1 kilometer later, I had a campsite. So, campgrounds. Yeah, gonna have to do my research the next time I head out of town. What do we got now? The weather. Just a short thing about the weather. The first half of the trip was hot. I've had multiple days of 34 degrees. It was hot. The heat doesn't bother me as long as I'm hydrated. And I'm carrying 6 liters of water with me, so I've dealt with that really well. The heat doesn't bother me as much. The second half of the trip was like late fall, like October, November. The temperature really dropped, so I was dealing with a lot of cold conditions, which I was prepared for. So I think other than that, I think I dealt with 1 day where I had pounding rain, and that was my last leg into Temagami. So weather, you got to be ready for it. You got to adjust for it. I'm always ready for it. So weather's not an issue, but basically that was the weather conditions on the entire trip. What do we got next? One thing I learned over the last 12 years, and the amount of times I've actually done this route, was I met a lot of good people along the way. A lot of great people. I become friends with them. Don, you know who you are. Jan, you know who you are. I've met a ton more people along the way, but I've known Jan and Don for a while now. They know who I am. They spotted me out on the highway. They spotted me in town. They pulled over to say hello, hugs, and the whole 9 yards. And you know what? That's kind of fantastic. I think that's really great. Now when I set out on these kind of trips, I can run into people I know. It's just fantastic. I've met some new people along the way. When I was in Earl Road Provincial Park, that was day 3, I ran into someone by the name of Colin, and he's got a YouTube channel. It's called Colin from Canada. And we subscribed to each other's channel. I had a nice chat with him in the park, and now we're friends. And he's been bugging me, when are you coming out with the movie? So, yeah, I'm getting underway now. And I also want to do a shout out to Linda. I was riding down a back road, and somebody came running out of the house and said, "Stop, stop." And I knew that was all about. Somebody wanted to know just what I was doing and where I was going. And we had a great chat. Now, Linda has a website. She's the healthyhiker.ca. And she does all kinds of hiking. In fact, I think she was in, not Europe. Is it East Asia? West Asia? But yeah, incredible. Incredible. Healthyhiker.ca and Call of Canada. Check them out. It's really cool stuff. I also ran into a couple of friends. Somebody by the name of Larry, who, when I got to Huntsville, warned me of some bad weather that was coming. And in Huntsville, I was actually staying at a campsite that was like a beach. It was all sand. And I was worried about what that might do to my equipment the morning that I leave, because we were supposed to get a storm overnight. So I want to thank Larry for your help. I got to stay on his property. Everything was great. I appreciate it. And who else we got? Larry. God, there was just so many people. So I talked to Linda. Terry. My friend Terry, who has retired and has a cottage in Magnetawan. And I want to thank Terry for inviting me about 25 kilometers off my route to stay at his place for a few days, which I needed because I had to absolutely make sure that the condition of my knee from those construction zones that really contorted my knee. And I'm still feeling it to this day, but it's going to take a little while to completely heal. To make sure that I was in one piece and ready to go. Because a lot of it is confidence. You got to have confidence in your knee. You don't want to get out there and something happens and then you're stuck. So Terry, I want to thank you. I had a blast. Thank you for your cooking. Your cooking is amazing. And I was off on the rest of the trip. So it's amazing how I can be out in the middle of nowhere, a million miles away, and run into people that I know. I think it's absolutely fantastic. The thing about that is that if you know me, I've done all my trips solo, except for a few trips where I had Dave Traplin ride with me the first day. The one time he rode day 1 and day 2 with me. But generally, I like to be solo. I like to get away from the world, get away from people. We spend a lot of time with our friends and other people that we rarely have time to spend with ourselves. So it's an opportunity to get away from it all, to get away from all the stuff that's going on in the world right now. And I felt great. Mentally, I felt great. And that's why I ride solo. It's a longer story, but I think I'm putting that into the book that I'm hopefully going to come out in the next... I started writing this book 5-6 years ago. But I kept holding off finishing it because I might want to include the trips that I'm doing and get that into the book as well. So yeah, it's great to run into people. Larry, again, thank you. And Don and Jan, it's great running to you again. Great to see you guys again. And yeah, that's it for that. So what do we got next? I was asked recently, Jim, what's the most Canadian thing that you've had on all your trips? And I never thought about that. I never thought about that. What is the most Canadian thing about my trips? And that would be all the people that I don't know that came out because they were concerned. I get people pulling on the sides of the road, getting out and saying, hey, is everything okay? Are you okay? Do you need anything? Do you need help? I've had people pull over in their pickup truck and say, hey, I'm a little nervous about you being on this highway. Do you want to throw all your gear in the back of my truck and I'll take you where you need to go? And I'm like, no, that would be cheating. And I pretty much have a system that works. It was hard to convince them not to rescue me, if that's what they think they were doing. But so appreciative about people that pull over and are concerned about you. I've had tons of people come out to the side of the road asking me, hey, do you need some water? I've had people give me zucchinis, cucumbers. On the back roads approaching Sault Ste. Marie a few years ago, I was riding on a back road, gravel road, and a pickup truck passed me. And he was gone. Then I saw that pickup truck come back towards me. And he stopped on the side of the road. It was about 1/4 kilometer away. And I'm thinking, well, what's this guy doing? There's nothing there. Like, there's no entrance to a farm or anything. It's just out in the middle of nowhere. It wasn't until I approached him, I'm thinking, okay, he's standing on the side of the truck. He's got something on his hood. Just give a glance over and say good morning. And he gave me a small basket of those small tomatoes that he had growing in his yard. I guess he went home, he picked some tomatoes and gave it to me, which I thought was fantastic. It's like, when you get out of the big cities, people are less stressful. And they're a little bit more caring and really nice people. And I've had a lot of people show some concern and ask me if I needed anything. Do you need help? Is everything okay? And you know what? That is so fantastic. It's so great to run into people who show concerns, people who just want to know where you're coming from, where are you going, do you have a YouTube channel that I can follow? Ah, man, it's just, wow. That is the most Canadian thing that I could say about this trip. Is all the friendly people, meeting so many people. It's just awesome. It is just so awesome. And although I like to ride solo and be away from everything, it's okay to run into everybody once in a while that shows some concern or just wants to know more about where you're coming from. After all, my equipment looks ridiculous. I'm not riding a bike with no equipment. I'm riding a bike that looks ridiculous. And people know you're coming from somewhere and you're going somewhere, and they just have to know. And I think that's really cool when someone shows interest in what you're doing. And yeah, it's that is the most Canadian thing, when they're bringing out food, bringing out water, and they're asking you. I've had people say, hey, you can camp on my property if you want. And I think that is so cool. You know, set up your tent, you're on someone's property, you don't have to worry about where your next campsite's going to be. But I think everybody that has offered me the property, it was the wrong time of day. It was like noon, 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, way too early for me to stop. I had to press on. So, yeah, we'll leave it at that. That is the most Canadian thing about my travels that I just love. All right, what's next? Equipment. I'm not going to go too far in depth with that. I destroyed another wheel. After my G2G experience trip, I destroyed my back wheel. This wheel has about 6,600 kilometers on it. And what I did was I ended up splitting, or at least the ribs getting cracked all the way down from eyelet to eyelet. So that's trash. So I did pick up a new rim. And my Temagami trip was only 680 something kilometers. Seemed like a lot more than that. Maybe over 700. But picked up a new rim. Got home. Took the bike in to get some work done. And they told me that this rim was starting to split. And that back rim, that back wheel takes a lot of punishment. Now the problem with this rim is that it didn't have what this has. As you can see, maybe on the back, they have these eyelets, okay, which strengthens the wheel. You can probably see there, those little eyelets. So over time, they are going to break. And I'm learning a lot about that now. So yeah, I only had this for about 680 something kilometers, and it started to crack from eyelet to eyelet. But it's good enough still that come spring, I can still train on it. I did pick up a new wheel. No, that was, that's the front wheel. Okay, this is my new wheel. And yes, they did get me a wheel that had the eyelets. So that's going to give me peace of mind when I start my trip in Temagami. And like I said, peace of mind is everything. And I don't want to be 1,500 kilometers from home and lose a wheel, and then what? So that's that. I wanted to talk about my filming. I picked up a new camera in the off season. It is the exact same camera that I'm filming with now. What I noticed when I was reviewing all my files when I got home, and I got about 650 files. The camera that I'm filming right now has a very good microphone sensitivity, and this does not. Apparently, it's the same camera, but it's the sensitivity was not as strong as this one here. And there's going to be times along the trip where I'm talking while I'm riding, and you know what? You can barely hear me. So I'm a little disappointed in that, but I think it's still going to work out. What else? My trailer. My trailer has a single trailing wheel. And I thought I'd take a look at it because now that trailer has well over 7,000 kilometers on it. So what I did was I took the wheel off. I can pull it out here. And Not bad tire-wise. After 7,000 kilometers, this tire still has tread. But there's another problem. The hub itself. Now these are sealed bearing. So I can't just pull it apart and grease it. So I don't know if you can hear it. Maybe a little bit closer here. So if you hear that, bone dry. So what I have to do is, I have to pop out the sealed bearing and get them replaced. I mean, it's a good thing I noticed that now. I hope there's no damage to the hub, because if there's no grease in there, you're going to scar the hub. But you know what? If it's sealed bearing, I don't think I have to worry about scarring. If they weren't sealed bearing, then I'd worry about the bearing cups that are in there, because then they will scar and then they won't run right. So yeah, so that's got to get done. What else? Brakes. I had this bike. Ready to go. Brand new. Ready to go. And 680 kilometers of Temagami. I beat the hell out of this bike. It got tortured. And there's a lot of things I got to get fixed on there. I'm going to need brakes. I'm going to need a new cog for the back. New chain. Normally you can ride a couple of thousand kilometers just, you know, without the equipment. If you're just riding a bike, you can last a while. But with all the terrain that I had to go through, construction zones that were where they ripped up the pavement, you know what? I beat the hell out of this thing. There was one stretch before I got to Mikisu Provincial Park. It had to be about 5-6 kilometers where they dumped gravel and sand. So what that did was, before the grader came and started smoothing it out, it was about 2-3 inches of gravel and sand. I can't ride that. So I literally had to walk for 6 kilometers before I got back to pavement again. Yeah, you know, I owe a lot to my equipment. My equipment really stood the test. And I can't think of anything else that I need to get done. But if there is, there's a lot of work to get done before 2026. And I'm starting now. What do we got? Equipment. Okay. I'm part of the equipment. My knee's okay. Every once in a while it goes clickety-clack. Pop, snap, crackle, pop. But I notice it's getting better. Like, I wasn't able to do this a few months back, and I'm able to do that now. So my knee's going to be good. Physically, I have to begin winter training indoors. I've been using my backup bike to go to work, because obviously I can't ride this right now. And now we're at the point in the season where all the bikes are retired for the season. They all need work done. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be training indoors, because I want to be ready for spring. I don't want to use spring to be ready for summer. I think I mentioned that quite a bit. So I think that's where we're at. So I'm not going to go on with anything else anymore, because you're going to see this in the movie. Next week, episode 1 will come out. But I think we'll do that. Before we do that, I'm going to do a quick preview of the entire trip. And I hope it won't take long. I'm just going to throw in some clips that might draw people to come and watch. Because a lot of things went wrong, or a lot of things took a dog leg left, and that makes for a great story. So, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to go ahead with the preview, and next week we'll see you for episode 1.
This is what it looks like on the morning of a trip. I'm all packed, just got to assemble, and I'm on my way. I'm so excited. Welcome to Temagami Revisited and Beyond. Time to go. Well, this was my first concern of the day. No longer concerned. This intersection here, this is York Boulevard, and this is my highway out of town. And there was construction going on here, and I could not get through with my bike. At least I knew if they weren't done, I wouldn't be able to get through. And I'd have to figure another way out of here. So, but this looks good. Can you believe that? Unbelievable. I got to cross this street, and I'm having a real tough time doing it. How did I ever make that mistake? That was brutal. Oh, no, no. No, this can't be. No. I can't do this again. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Now I'm in trouble again. I am in Innisfil. I'm about 10 kilometers out of Barrie. And as you know, the construction detour really messed things up for me. I'll tell you one thing though, we did need this. Flies are bad here. They don't seem to be biting. I'm an easy target when I'm standing still. Nothing like a meal at the Lake of Basin Brewery here in Baysville. Woohoo! I'm here. And I get to. It's Wednesday, August 20th. I'm here with my friend Terry, who put me up for a couple of days and rescued my knee. And I'm ready to head out to Mikisew Provincial Park. So yeah, short day today. I'm not sure how long it's going to take. Could take anywhere from 4 to 6 hours. One road's going to be a little tough, but nothing I've ever had to handle before. So yeah, I want to thank my friend Terry. Beautiful place he's got here.
I haven't given you the bill yet.
Okay, the endurance day is 2/3 over. I've got 39 kilometers to go. I'll be turning left here on the final highway at the Calendar Bay. Do you have any idea how far from home I am? So I'm at the intersection of two Trans-Canada highways. One goes north to south, one goes east to west. This goes to places like Sudbury, Sault Ste. Marie, Wawa, and White River. In the other direction, Ottawa, Ardprior, Pembroke,
That's Highway 17. I'm heading north on Highway 11 to Martin River and Temagami. And the good thing about doing this on a Sunday is contractors don't work on Sunday, which means a little less traffic. The odd transport truck, but most of the cottage country traffic will be heading south on a Sunday. So I'm hoping for a nice clean ride on the Trans-Canada Highway. They changed the sign! You know what? I like this one too. Wow. Just 3 to go. Temagami!